What's going on, everybody? So today we have the new season 28 patch note update. It's pretty exciting. There isn't like super crazy changes, I would say. In general it's going to be relatively the same. I did skim through it, but there are some very meaningful changes that we do have to go over here. So first off, season 28 goes live February 24th at 5 p.m. PST. No surprise there. This is what I said in my video. They've launched it 5 to 6 days after every season ended in the past like 10 seasons, and it's always on a Friday, so no surprise there. But a week from today we'll be finally getting the season, which is super exciting. Let's talk about some of the things that are changing though. So if we scroll down here, we have the season cosmetic rewards, we have the season 28 theme, we have the season journey rewards. I'm going to be focusing on the things that I guess you could say are really different. But if you guys want to check out all these other things that are, kind of cool, if you guys care about the seasonal cosmetics, then that's you. If you care about the seasonal journey, although the seasonal journey I guess can be quite interesting, you definitely want to complete it every single time, then that's what you're gonna have to do. To me, what I want to focus on is going to be the new updated patch notes. Okay. Also, here's the 100 gifts set for the season 28 for each of the classes, if you guys are curious. We have the Mundungus for Witch Doctor, Horde for Barbarian, Aegis for Crusader, Gears for Demon Hunter, Monk has the Patterns of Justice, Wizard has the Typhoon's Veil, and Necromancer has the Masquerade. Okay, now we dive into the actual real changes. First off, here we have the altar changes. The big ones, there's three main changes, I would say. I guess four main changes here. Progress orbs are only picked up within 60 yards, not anywhere. So some people have been noticing if, let's say, there's a progress orb off screen, it wasn't picked up. And instead of, I guess you could say fixing that, they just doubled down on it. Not quite sure if this was some sort of balance thing or if they just decided not to have this in. I don't think this is a really big deal, to be honest. This is a strong thing to have. Might save you a couple of seconds, but it's really not the most broken thing on here. Two other things that I think are super important is going to be the L, which is down here, and the R, which is, where was that? It was down here. Yeah, so these two got massive damage buffs, doubling the damage that they increase. Instead of 10%, it's 20%. Instead of 15%, it's 30%. Ooh, that is really strong. That's a lot of damage increase, guys. Wow. R2 is one that I would recommend going for because you're going to be picking up, you want to get the progress orbs down here. So definitely going straight down middle and then heading left and then picking up those progress orbs is really solid. Also, the other big change is pylons and the power of the pylons. So what they decided to do is right here, they mentioned this. We wanted the seasonal theme to be powerful and rewarding, but Conduit Pylon completely broke the game. This is true. Man, rerolling for potions was really pylons was honestly a little annoying. So I'm glad that they made this change. Also, if you didn't want to do it, you're just gonna be way weaker than everyone else. So they wanted to keep the power level high. So what they did is they nerfed this essentially, and then they buffed this. I imagine is kind of what their thought process was. But they removed all pylons from the final potion power and replaced them with a 16-second dimensional power pylon. To compensate for the power decrease, we buffed several damage steals elsewhere in the tree. Well, looks like that's exactly what they did. This is still a really solid effect, guys. This is still a really solid effect because you're still gonna get a random shrine potentially, or the pylon power effect. I will say, due to the changes of the potion, I would definitely recommend that you go left-hand side tree first for the extra progress orbs and for the damage increasing. You still want this effect. It's still gonna be really good. But me personally, the extra damage increase way outweighs the potential random shrine or the random power pile. It's not like an absurd bonus. When we're considering the previous iteration of this, we would reroll for conduit shrines, we would reroll for, I don't know, empowerment shrine. These are pylons, and these types of things are just broken. They're like broken, okay? they were actively broken. I'm actually gonna move myself over so you guys can see a little bit better. But these things were actively broken and just like changed the entire game. And that's the big difference, okay? Because of that, it's not quite as good, but still very, very solid. And I would definitely recommend going left-hand side tree instead this time. Okay, moving on here, they actually adjusted one of the requirements. You have to go ahead and get 4 set dungeon pages. And these are the ones for each class down below. Basically, from what I understand, this is going to be your 4 main sets for each of the classes, which means that you're going to want to keep the set items that you earn throughout the game, right? Because you're going to want to run in with a full set to be able to pick up these set dungeon pages. This is something that, well, might be a little confusing for some people because some people may not even do this. In fact, this is not something that I almost ever want to do. But we're going to be doing it now instead of the one never-ending questions. So definitely keep your 4 main set items, and I'll be going over those in a future videos to help you guys prepare as you're going through, right? Because it is level 19, which means that if you guys are taking the cash and using it, it's going to be after the cash. You're going to have to get an ancient hellfire amulet. You're going to have to get, up to certain greater rift levels. You're going to have to do all these other things, right? It's going to take you a little while to get to 19, so you guys have some time. But if you guys aren't saving your set items, and you don't have your set items by the time you get to this point, you might be stalled a little bit. So you do want to make sure you're saving them throughout the season. It's pretty important. Moving on here, actually, let's just talk about their developer note here real quick. We agree that obtaining never-ending questions is more difficult than desired. We decided to direct the players to collect the necessary sets to enter set dungeons and provide proof at the altar of right. Turns out they just wanted to make it a little bit easier for us. I will say it might be a little bit more time consuming if someone's not prepared for this, okay? Because again, you have to get these items that you need. That could take a little bit. It's really not that difficult. It's just a little bit of time, right? So moving on here, we have a few changes from what I understand for Nats, as well as the Gears of Dreadlands, and then we have the Witch Doctor. So that's gonna be pretty cool. So we have Nats here. First off, let's read the developer note. After listening to the community's feedback about the Natalya's changes, we wanted to move Natalya's away from Gears of Dreadlands, giving it a more unique identity. We hope Natalya's playstyle gives players more control over the explosions they set off while navigating the battlefield. Oh, we've taken away the strafe ability from Natalya's. This is very, very interesting. A lot of people did not like that. They did not like that at all. So basically, what they're doing is, this is the previous iteration, this is the new iteration. Hitting enemy summons a spike trap if it is on your action bar. Each spike trap that it restores 1 discipline. So this before, you basically would run around and strafe on people, and then you just summon a spike trap if it's, in your action bar, and then you just restore the discipline, so you can go ahead and kind of spam out things like, for example, smoke screen and run really, really quickly. But that is insane. Wow. So they removed that, which honestly probably will slow down farming significantly. That's my guess. But you can see our spike trap now deals 100% increased damage to enemies affected by caltrops, which is, again, is pretty interesting. Spike trap now instantly refreshes charges on use, no longer costs resources, and each detonation restores 2 discipline. So you're gonna get extra discipline restoration. You don't have to, you basically have unlimited spike traps, and it doesn't cost any resources. And if you combo with caltrops, it's gonna deal increased damage. Interesting. The 4-piece version, when you lay a spike trap, instead of granting 60% damage reduction, instead spike trap explosions will blast affected enemies towards the nearest set caltrops. Laying a spike trap grants 75% damage reduction. The duration of this bonus is always equal to the number of already laid traps in seconds. Ooh, very, very interesting. And the last thing, same thing, each consecutive detonation instead will now deal 25% more damage instead of 10% more damage. Interesting. So based on my first initial impressions here, it's going to be a better Greater Rift pushing build, but a worse T16 farming build. That's just like my straight up first impressions here. before, again, you would be able to run strafe and then just charge through the whole dang battle, right? You'd just be able to charge straight through your T16, strafing through, infinite discipline, infinite spike traps, just one-shotting everything. Very, very simplistic. But now it probably won't be able to do that. Obviously, you won't be able to do it because you can't strafe and summon spike traps. So we'll have to see, guys. I think this is a good thing, to be honest. I always thought that the strafe run through everything builds were a little bit memey and honestly probably a little bit too strong for farming. Whenever I would start a character, I'd always be like, do I really even want to play like Necro when I could just play Demon Hunter, play strafe, and then run through everything? Like that was always my thought, right? But now it seems they're taking away one of those options, so I like that, to be honest. I like the direction they're going personally. And it seems a little bit more interesting. You're going to get more damage, most likely, and you're going to get a lot more damage reduction. 15% damage reduction increase compared to 60% is really, really massive. So, yeah, big fan. Big fan of the change. We also have Gears of Dreadlands damage buffed insane amounts. And then we have one last thing, the Spirit Barrage Manitou rune. Instead of dealing 6,000% weapon damage, you're going to do 14,000% weapon damage. This is actually a pretty big deal. I used to run a lot of Spirit Barrage Witch Doctor, and it is 100% true that the farming builds were pretty slow. Again, this is one of the reasons why I decided to go with Strafe Demon Hunter last season and just Strafe Demon Hunter farm, because I was trying to play Witch Doctor, I would try to run Spirit Barrage, and it was just so much significantly slower that it was not worth it. Like, yeah, I could run Witch Doctor, yeah, I could farm, or I could spend, I don't know, an hour, get a Demon Hunter, or 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, getting a Demon Hunter up and running, and I would save those 2-3 hours over the course of like 3-4 days of me farming on the Demon Hunter versus the Witch Doctor, because it was so much faster. It was ridiculous, especially with like Strafe Multi-Shot in T16 or Strafe Impale for like greater of speed farming. It was just ridiculously strong. So, and of course, some other builds for some other classes had some options as well. So I like this change as well. I think this is a really, really nice change for helping Witch Doctor out. I do think Witch Doctor needed a little bit of love. I'm a little sad to see there's no love for the Crusader. Poor Crusader mains, man. These things, they're just like gone, man. They're just not here. But I love it, guys. I think the patch changes are pretty good. Again, the big things that you have to think about is, first off, the new Tome of Set Dungeon pages you're going to need. These require you to have a full set, 4 different full sets from what I understand. So you're going to want to be able to save those set pieces as you're running through. The second thing is they remove that absurd pylon effect, randomness, which is just a good thing and reduces the RNG later on in the game. They've doubled up on the damage nodes, so those ones are incredibly more important. The progress orbs are no longer picked anywhere off the map. They just are picked up basically around your screen for the most part. And I believe the, of course, last change that we just went over is going to be the set item changes for Natalya's. I think that's the big one. And honestly, I like it. I like the uniqueness of, running spike traps with caltrops, something like that. I think it's pretty cool, honestly. And I think it'll be better for greater F pushing, potentially. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to test it out and see. I wish the PTR was back up. I wish I could run in there and run around on season 20. I still want to test out a few things, so. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know if you guys are excited about season 28, and I will see you all tomorrow.